morning, kids. Well, this morning we're going to hear a story about a dinner that Jesus went to just after he had raised Lazarus from the dead. And at this dinner we also see that Mary really understood what it meant to make Jesus her greatest treasure. We find the story in John chapter 12, and it goes a bit like this. I want you to imagine a dinner table, and the conversation is buzzing with happy, excited things. Lazarus is sitting back, and the people are asking him questions. What was it like to die and then come back to life? And as he's answering those questions, his sister Martha is clearing away all the dirty plates and filling the empty glasses, and Mary slips off out of the room. And when she comes back in, she's carrying a large wooden bowl and a small alabaster jar with her. And as she made her way into the room and came towards Jesus, she placed the bowl nearby him and took down her hair. And the conversation got a little bit quieter as Jesus turned to her and sat up. And then as she took his feet and gently placed them in the bowl and broke the alabaster jar and poured the perfume on his feet, it got even quieter. And the people could smell this beautiful fragrance as it drifted across the table, and their eyes grew wide as they realized that this was an incredibly rare and expensive perfume. And Mary took her long hair and she dried Jesus' feet with her hair. And you could see very clearly that Jesus was moved by this incredible act of adoration and worship for him. Now, sitting at the table was also Judas, one of Jesus' disciples, and he was also moved, but he was irritated. He couldn't believe this wasteful extravagance that Mary was showing. This jar of alabaster perfume, you see, children, was thought to be worth almost a whole year's wages. And never in the 3 years that the disciples had been together had they had so much money together in one place to even afford to buy that. And Judas now looked in this bowl and saw a dirty, wasted puddle. Yeah. Worthless. And he blurted out, "Couldn't this have been sold and the money given to the poor?" Well, Mary immediately looked down and stopped what she was doing. And everybody's gaze turned towards Jesus. And for a few of the disciples, I think they thought that he had a good point. Jesus was always encouraging them to look after the poor, to give to the needy. And really what Mary had done did seem a little bit extravagant. And Jesus sat for a while and didn't say anything, and he continued to look at Mary. He knew what they were all thinking, but he also knew that Judas's thoughts weren't because he cared for the poor. They were because he was a thief. And as the keeper of the money bag for the disciples, he would often help himself to what was in the purse. And this explosion of rage was really a disguise for his greed. And Jesus looked up and he said, "Leave her alone. This was intended always to be set aside for my burial." And he realized that this was a pure act of worship. He said to them, "You will always have the poor with you." And I wonder if his gaze drifted across to Judas when he said this, because then he said, "But you will not always have me with you." You see, children, Judas didn't value what Mary valued. Mary looked at Jesus and she saw, like that hidden treasure that we talked about a few weeks ago, hidden in the field, she realized that Jesus was worth her most valuable possession, and she was willing to give it up, to give it away in adoration and worship of him. Judas looked at this jar of perfume and he saw how much money it was worth. He saw the cost. And we know that in a few days' time, Judas was willing to get a few silver coins in betrayal of Jesus for him, having money was worth more than walking alongside Jesus. And children, there's going to be lots of opportunity for you as you grow up to show your value and what you consider valuable in what you do. And you can give your time, your energy, your money, your life to the things that God values, to the church, to telling others about Jesus, to helping the poor or the sick or the lonely, the orphan or the widow. And some people may look at you and think, what a waste of your time, what a waste of your money, of your life. But God looks at Mary and he wants you to learn from this story that what she valued, which is Jesus, is worth all the money, is worth your life to do what show the people that he loves, the people that he values, what it is to know him. And when you do that, you will have the greatest treasure in the world. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed that story. I really would love you to do something to help you remember it. You can take a little jar like this, a little bottle, and fill it with oil or water. Put a few flowers in because it was scented, and put it in your room somewhere to remind you of what Jesus said is valuable. There's also a picture that you can color in, and a little jar that you can put pin it on, just to remind you that Mary showed her absolute adoration of Jesus by washing his feet and drying them with her hair. All right, have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.